Hello, and welcome to the HelloID Provisioning Product Release video for March 2025. HelloID Provisioning is a 100% born in the cloud, easy to configure and maintain user provisioning solution. It helps organizations to fully automate the user lifecycle management by connecting the HR or SIS as a source system. Every change in this source is detected and processed into the network and your cloud applications. No more worries about stale user accounts, accumulation of licenses or access rights, manual user management, or compliancy issues. Please note that this video highlights only the new features in the March 2025 release. For more videos, visit docs.helloid.com or check out our YouTube channel. Let's dive in. We'll start with a PowerPoint presentation before moving on to demonstrate the new functionalities for the March 2025 release. In this release, we're excited to introduce 3 new features. With this release, we have officially deprecated PowerShell v1 target systems. While existing PowerShell v1 target systems will continue to function as usual, you can no longer create new ones. At this time, no end-of-support date has been set for PowerShell v1 target systems. However, please note that no new functionality will be added. If you remove a PowerShell v1 target system, you will not be able to recreate it. Please proceed with caution when making changes to your configurations. The next improvement enables the for-account action to be executed via enforcement, providing all the benefits of enforcement, such as system dependencies and in-conditions on contracts for sub-permissions. Additionally, it allows you to update accounts across multiple systems in a single enforcement run, which can be advantageous. However, a drawback is that you must manually click on Account Update and triggered enforcement run. The last feature allows you to import target data and use accounts and permissions as entitlements in HelloID. The key benefit is that it provides a better and more controlled experience when configuring a new target system and preparing it for production. Additionally, it serves as a correlation report, a capability that was previously unavailable for PowerShell target systems. While this functionality was already available for Active Directory, extending it to almost all target systems marks a significant advancement. Let's dive in and explore the new features. For this demo, I have logged into HelloID and navigated to the provisioning dashboard. Our first feature, updating accounts via enforcement. To do this, I go to the target system and then to Systems. In this case, we are going to Active Directory. Here, we have the Update All Accounts button. Its name has been slightly changed. Previously, it was Force Update for All Accounts. The button's location remains exactly the same, but its functionality has changed. Now, when I click on it, a message appears. This action will mark the account for update on the next enforcement. This means the update will not be executed immediately. Instead, the update will be applied during the next enforcement run. The advantage of this is that we can incorporate all the benefits of that enforcement run, such as maintaining system order, handling dependencies on other systems, or considering conditions tied to a contract. Next, I can click Confirm. Then, if I go to my evaluation and run an evaluation, you will see that all the accounts I have marked are now queued for an update. This is due to a manual update. This process is easy to execute. I have now run an evaluation, but I would still need to run enforcement. This means completing 2 steps instead of 1. However, the benefits of running an enforcement far outweigh the extra step. The same applies when I navigate to a person and go to Entitlements. Here, I also have an Update button. When I click on it, the update is not executed immediately but is marked for the next enforcement run. If I click Confirm here and then navigate to Business, then to Evaluations, and run an evaluation, you will see that an update is queued for that person. Note that the bottom 2 items are retraced and do not count. The top item is a manual update, and it has been queued for this person. This is not a major change in the UI, but it is a crucial improvement in the system's functionality. Let's go ahead and run the enforcement so that the update for this person is applied. This is the first major feature of this release. For this, I have set up a target system that creates users in our source system, the HR system we use. This is a common scenario. Instead of creating an account for all these users, I want to retrieve the users from the HR system. Next, you click on Create Snapshot, and it will retrieve user data from the HR system. You can see this happening live. Immediately, you see that 501 accounts are being loaded. Of those, 501 are enabled, and I retrieved 201 membership permissions. Before I do that, it is important to configure the permissions from the business rule for this system. In this case, I haven't done that yet, so I need to set it up. I go to Rules and then to Active. I have already added them here. Account access for the user car. But I still need to publish them. And I had a permission rule ready that assigns an agent entitlement for the HR system, which I also need to publish. Now, I need to go back to my entitlements import and run the evaluation so that the latest business rule changes are applied, and the entitlements configured within them can be correctly imported, so that it picks up the latest business rule changes and the entitlements configured within them, allowing me to import them. Then, I need to run the report. And what we see next is that these are all the people who will receive an account for the HR user system. And in this case, we focus on Ian Klein because I have already registered him as a user in the HR user package, and you will see that his account is now being imported. It would enable him import the account access entitlements because he is also enabled as an account in the system. And it would import the agent HR role permission from the target system. That means if I click Import Entitlements, then when I check the evaluation, Ian Klein should no longer appear for account provisioning, as his account already exists as an entitlement. Next, you can modify the data in the target system, create a new snapshot, and then rerun this report. You will see that he is gone because he has already been imported, so he no longer appears in the report. If we then look at granted entitlements, we immediately see that Ian Klein has an account and his agent permission. That would also mean that if I run an evaluation now, Ian Klein should now appear as an action. And that is the update you see. This way, you can prevent a large number of account creations, and for a new system we have added here, you can see which accounts will actually be created and which will be updated in the system. This provides a much better overview. How does this work, and what do you need to configure? If we go to Target, and then to a user's HR system, you can go to Account, and here we have a new option, Account Data Import. What do you need to provide here, and what do you receive? What we need to provide is a list of all accounts that exist and whether they are enabled, yes or no, and a list of the mappings and which fields they are. All of this is received as input from this script. These are, of course, also the fields you mapped in the target connector. So in this case, I returned all this data, and here we saw Ian Klein in the list. I also specified that all accounts, for example, are enabled. Of course, you can adjust this based on the target system data. We then need to return a username and display name, as well as the account reference, just as you would when creating the account in HelloID. The same concept applies to permission memberships. So note that here we are talking about permissions. These are actual groups or roles. And here we are talking about the memberships of those roles or groups. This way, you can import everything using these scripts. And how does it work when I press Create Snapshot in the Import Entitlements section? If I click here, you will see the numbers increasing. And if you want to see how the snapshot was executed, you can go to Target, and then to Snapshots. Here, you will also see an overview of what you just imported. It was successful. We imported the account data. There were 501 accounts. We have those HR rules. Imported permissions, and there were 201. There is also logging available from the entire import that can be returned via PowerShell, and this principle works the same as with source and target data. This way, you get a clear overview of the data you can import, and then you can include it as an entitlement in HelloID, saving a lot of time and effort. Plus, the evaluation is significantly better than it was without this functionality. As mentioned earlier, we already had this for Active Directory, and now we have it for PowerShell. Of course, PowerShell requires a bit more configuration. By the way, it's important to mention that if either of these two fails, the entire snapshot will fail. And you handle permissions per permission definition. If you go to Systems and open your user's HR system, under Permissions, you can create multiple permission definitions or permission configurations. Below that, you also have the import function again, meaning you can import separate elements. Additionally, it's important to know that you can also import subpermissions if needed. However, this comes with a small downside. This is because if you import subpermission ABC because the person has it in the target system based on the business rule, we don't actually know what they are supposed to get, because that is, of course, defined in the script based on your contracts. So if they only have a contract for A and B, that means we will remove C during an update. That is different from not importing it. If you simply run it, it would try to assign A and B and leave C untouched. So keep this in mind, as it is a side effect of importing these subpermissions. It can also be useful, as maybe you do want to clean up permission C. As we conclude this overview of the latest HelloID release, we hope you're as excited as we are about these enhancements and new features. They're designed to streamline your experience, improve security, and ensure your system's integrity with advanced configurations and mappings. Stay tuned for more updates, and thank you for choosing HelloID for your identity and access management needs.